that the video shows up as our video chat now.
Alright, just a second.
And technically we should be live right now.
Yeah. So nobody needs to pick their noses or nothing?
Yes. Alright, so we're good. Alright. So, this is another episode of That One Show where they talk about stuff. And today we're joined by Nicholas Brown. Do you still go by Nick, or is it Nicholas at this point?
Yeah, I mean, like, my friends call me Nick, but I just use Nicholas as like my professional name so I can, stand out.
I feel it. I like it. Okay. So, if you want to go ahead and start, but I mean, you're in South Carolina now, right?
Yeah, I live in Charleston.
When did you move?
2011. I graduated from school. I went to Central, and then I graduated in the winter, and then I think winter of 2010, and then I moved in like late June 2011.
Okay. So when you went to Western, did you go to school for camera work? What did you go to school for?
I went to Central in Ellensburg.
Oh, Central
Western University. Yeah. And I went to school for film, yeah.
Okay.
So I studied, the basics of filmmaking and all that kind of stuff.
When you were younger, did you know that you wanted to do film work?
It's funny because I never considered it as a career really for anybody at all, because you don't think about it like that. Personally, I didn't at that time as a kid, But my brother and I have always been very, obsessed with movies, watching movies constantly, quoting movies. He and I still, a lot of our communication is just quoting movies that we like. That's what we do. When I was still living
that we do.
My brother moved here 5 years before I did, I think, something like that. He had lived here for a while before I moved back here, and when he was here and I was on the West Coast still, back when you and I knew each other on the West Coast, he would just text me quotes, movie quotes. That was our communication. There was no hey man, how you doing? What's going on? It was a Dumb and Dumber quote or something, Seinfeld.
I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then it was when I was in college, I was trying to decide what I wanted to study, and I was working at a movie theater, and one of my buddies was like, all you do is quote movies all day. Why don't you, they have a film program here. Why don't you go study film? It was this duh moment, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then I looked into it, and then I did. So that's what I did, and then here I am.
Nice. How did you land your first gig?
I moved to Charleston. I mean, my first narrative gig, or my first film job ever?
First film job ever.
I was at Central. I was still, I think I had just graduated, and there was a reality TV show called Extreme Couponing that I'm sure you guys have probably seen at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but somebody gave them my name to be a set PA. And I somehow got that job, and for 3 days I was working on this TV show called Extreme Couponing. It was a quick little 3-day thing in Washington, and It was cool. That was the first film job I ever had.
That's cool. I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. How's it going, man? I'm Blake, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
So, what's one of the maybe the cooler things that you've possibly been able to take home after being on set of something?
So, I don't really ever take anything home from the set, obviously, because you're not allowed to do that. But you do, at the end of some projects, the production will give you wrap gifts and things as a hey, congratulations on finishing this. I have half of my wardrobe at this point is T-shirts or sweaters or jackets or things that I have from TV shows.
Okay.
But I got this right here. This is funny. This is a knife.
Oh.
Whoa.
It says how many kills on it.
Are you guys done working on that already?
Yeah, we were shooting in North Carolina, so I came home 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I don't know. It's kind of a daze at this point.
Have you guys already started filming the third one?
7 weeks. What's that?
Have you guys already started filming the third one?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't know when that's going to happen.
referencing Halloween for anybody that's not sure what we were just talking about.
Right. So Nick has been part of the new. Would you call it a reboot? I wouldn't call it a reboot. I would add it as like a sequel.
A sequel to the first.
To the original Halloween movies.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a reboot, but it's like I don't know. It's weird. It like bypasses all of the other sequels.
Right. So anything that's after the original Halloween is uncanon at this point.
Number 2.
Right. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily. I mean, I guess you have to think about it in the sense that, like, I don't know if it's necessarily uncanon. It's just like different canon. Like, there's the people that like Halloween 1978, and then all of the sequels, and then there's like our movies where it's like 1978 is still a thing, and we've created this like separate canon. It's like a different timeline, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to have worked on a film such as Halloween with an iconic character such as Michael Myers?
It's cool. It's really cool. The first time on the first one that we did in 2017, the first time I saw him put the mask on, it actually creeped me out because as a kid, I used to rent Halloween 1978 and watch it all the time. And I used to actually kind of be like in the neighborhood that I grew up in. You're coming home from your friend's house back when kids used to actually go run around and I would come home at night and there's street lights, and like I could like imagine him like slowly walking through the street light, and then you don't see him, then he's in a street light, and you don't see him, and like would run home because of it, So the first time he put the mask on, everyone's seen it obviously, right?
Yes.
The newer one.
Yeah.
So like when he pulls it out of the trunk and it puts it on, I was standing like 30 feet to his right of the car, and he turns and he just like walks, and he walked right past me, and I remember just being like, "Ooh, that's creepy."
That's awesome.
That's cool.
It was cool.
How did you find out that you'd get the part on the Halloween movie? Did you get a phone call from somebody, or did you apply for it?
Yeah.
Sorry, my cat is attacking a wasp. I don't remember, honestly. I basically, the way kind of since I'm in the camera department, the kind of way it works for me is when I got my first camera job, I had to like apply for everything, when I moved to Charleston. And then you kind of become, there's only like 8 of us in Charleston, I think. And so you kind of just become part of the squad. Okay. And nowadays I don't necessarily have to send a resume in. I still do for jobs that I want, but usually it's just like someone will call me up and say, "Hey, we got this job. Are you interested, or are you available to, come do Halloween or whatever it may be?"
I didn't realize that there was so much film work being done in North and South Carolina. Is that like a
well, North Carolina has been huge for decades.
Really?
Like a lot of movies on there. Wilmington, North Carolina they have like Screen Gem Studios there. Like that place has been huge. I mean, it's not LA obviously, but it's big enough that there's entire generations of families that have been living there, just living and working in film. Wow. And it's a great place, fantastic crew. Everyone's great, South Carolina, I kind of got lucky because when I moved here, there was really only one TV show, Army Wives, that was shooting here, and I was lucky enough to get my foot in the door with them. So then, since then, the film industry in Charleston has grown, and I've kind of been able to grow with it, which is nice.
So was the horror movies your first genre of choice, or was this still happen to be what you got hired into?
It's just what I got hired into. There was no choice. It was just, hey, we're doing this thing. Mm-hmm. Are you available to work on this? And it's like, of course. You know what I mean?
If you had to choose what genre you wanted to do most of your work in, what genre would that be?
I don't know. It's hard to. I mean, that's a hard question to answer because it's like, on one hand, it's like a job, so I want to just work. Yeah. And on the other hand, I don't want to like just do a specific genre. You know what I mean? Because they're also different. Like I've done, and this is funny that you say this. Like I didn't realize how much kind of like horror-ish type stuff I've done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was messaging you back and forth, and I had mentioned that he'd work on Mr. Mercedes, South of Hell, Swamp Thing, and Halloween.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask the same thing, if the horror was a genre that you just kind of fell into, or was that something you were aiming at?
It just happened to be the stuff that they wanted to shoot here at the time.
Okay.
So, but I would love to obviously do like a Western. I would love to do a Western. I'm a big fan of Westerns and stuff. So, I mean, I really just would love to work any genre of film. I just love working in film. So, but it is funny. I didn't realize that I do have kind of a track record of working on things that can be considered horror or horror-ish or in that genre somehow.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. So I was looking through your IMDb and just kind of saw some of the list of, I guess, different hats that you wear, if you will, for when you're on different projects. What kind of dictates being like something like a camera assistant in one project versus being like a loader or one of another, I guess, camera type job and something else?
And then before you answer that, in your own words, what does the title loader and digital utility and camera assistant mean?
So a digital utility, that is basically like the guy who, depending on the job, you set up the monitors, because every job has a set of monitors that like the director, the DP, and all the bigwigs sit behind to watch what we're actually shooting while we're shooting it. So it's like your responsibility as a digital utility to like build the monitors, set them up, plug them in, make sure that there's images everywhere, and then also like changing batteries, changing the camera batteries, assisting all the other camera assistants. Like, so basically the digital utility is like one of the lower positions in the camera department. So it goes basically digital utility, loader, and then like second AC or second assistant camera, first assistant camera, operator, and then director of photography. So you're basically, as a digital utility, assisting everyone above you to make sure everything goes smoothly. They have charged batteries. No one's going to be waiting on camera. You know what I mean? And then the loader position is the guy who, when it was film, was physically taking the film, putting it in a changing bag, and loading the film magazines so they can send them to set to shoot on the film. Nowadays, when 90% of everything is digital, you bring your MacBook to work and you have hard drives and you're responsible for they have these it's not, I'm going to say SD card, but it's not an SD card. It's like it's a card with media.
Okay.
It's your responsibility to know how many cards you have, hand them out to the second ACs, and then when they fill a card up, you take the card, you put it into a card reader, and then you basically make copies of that footage into specific folders and stuff to be sent to
editing,
post-production, where they can start doing the edit and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it's a lot of responsibility because you basically have the movie in your hands,
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So, and then, like he said, how do you get to wear that hat for, say, how do you get that position, and what dictates what position you're getting on what film?
It all depends on availability. Okay. So if they need a second AC and they can't find one and you're available, then they'll say, hey, would you come be the B camera second AC or whatever? You know what I mean? Okay. If they need a loader, they call you to be a loader, utility, same, that kind of thing.
Do these positions change pay at all when they change on the fly?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Good answer, by the way. Good answer. Yes.
You had mentioned the Army wives, the Army housewives. What was that like? How was that working on that?
Well, just so you know, there's a lot of confusion about that show. It's actually not a reality show. So are you aware of that? It's an actual scripted television show?
Right. No, I was tracking that. Yeah, okay. I was tracking
Okay. It was my first ever narrative TV show, and it was probably the best introduction to a professional film set that I could ever have, because by the time I got on the show, it was already the 7th season. So they were like running it like it was run like a dream. You know what I mean? It was cake for everybody because they'd done it for so long. So it was a really good introduction for me because there was never, of course, at that time, as a new guy coming into film, there's times when I have no idea what I'm doing, which was a lot of the time. And so I was really only stressing myself out. There was no actual stress coming from the show. So it was a really good show to learn on because everyone else was super chill, you know?
So that's basically you're able to sponge up everybody else's information to
right, exactly. Yeah. And I was going to say, and the second show ever was the show called Reckless that I did. And that was the first season of that show. And it was a lot more stressful. And I remember my first day showing up, and within 10 minutes, I was just way in over my head. Just like, I cannot believe how different this is than Army Wives was.
How often so you worked on Army Wives for one season and Reckless on one season?
Right.
Have you done something that is that you've been a part of for multiple seasons? I should know this. I should have did a little bit more research, but
I did Vice Principals 2 seasons in a row. We shot them, like we did season 1, we had a week off, and then we did season 2.
How often are people's positions changing throughout the season? Where you said you came on season 7 of Army Wives, do you see new faces pretty regularly behind the cameras?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it all depends on the show and what people are doing because, you know, there's work in Atlanta, there's work in North Carolina, there's work in South Carolina, there's people that work in New York. So, you know, you might work on 6 months with a group of people on this show, and then everyone's like, all right, well, we're coming back in 3 months to do season 2. And in the 3 months between season 1 and season 2, this guy got a job in New York for 4 months, so he's no longer available. So then it all depends on who takes what job at what time.
Gotcha. Okay. You got?
Yeah. So I was looking through some of the list of projects you were on. One of them being the Righteous Gemstones, that has Danny McBride and quite a few other people that I love on it. What's it like just trying to like keep your composure being around some of those people when you're on the other side of the camera? I mean, I know you're a professional, but you know,
it can be hard at times, but it's fun because when it's really funny, like you said, everyone's professional, so like you'll laugh and you'll be doing one of these, you know,
right?
But everyone around you is doing the same thing, and you all hold it in until they call cut, and then everyone bursts into laughter at the same time, and so it makes for a really, really fun experience. Because you're like, there's things like, have you guys seen the full season of Gemstones?
Not yet. I've seen one episode so far, but I love it so far. Yeah, it's really. I think these guys
things that happen that when you're shooting them, you go, oh my god, I can't wait for this to come out because people are gonna love it and it's gonna be hilarious, and then you want to talk about it, but you can't talk about it, you know?
Yeah. Course.
It's like a relief when it finally comes out and all your friends are laughing and talking about things and you're like, I couldn't wait to tell you.
Yeah.
But
do you have to sign like non-disclosure acts when you're okay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Following back into Halloween Kills, are you able to tell us much about it?
No. I'm sorry.
How do you survive the blast?
I can't. Like. What's up?
How do you survive the blast from the first movie? Last time I checked, was underneath those stairs.
I have no idea.
I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the little teaser, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's all I can. I mean, I can't really talk about anything at all.
Yep.
All that information they put out is all that can be talked about. So.
Are you expecting this new one to do as well as the first one or better?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know anything about box office and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's going to do extremely well.
Okay. Did it have the same kind of vibes that you had from the last one onto this one?
It's different just because for me it's different just because I had done that first one and I had never done anything like that before. And now coming back into this one, it felt so familiar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, that has nothing to do with the story. I think it's going to be good. That's all I'll say. Sorry.
What was your favorite part of working on the first one?
I don't know. Like, here's the thing about working in film. As much as it's like I'm here with Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis is over there and, you know, whatever, it is a job. And so a lot of the time I am not even paying attention to what's happening, like with the actors, like while they're rolling, because I'm thinking about something else. Like I'm ordering gear, or I'm like, okay, how many batteries do I have that are hot right now? Because we have the Steadicam shot coming up, or whatever. You know what I mean? So for me, it's more work mode versus what it would be like for you guys being there, where if you were there not working on it, you would just be like in awe of everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I can't think of a favorite moment besides, I guess maybe the bathroom scene, like you guys have seen.
Yeah.
That was shot on a set that they built, and it looked so real. Like watching the movie, like I was there obviously for the bathroom scene, and knowing that I was just in a set, and then watching the actual movie and being like, I cannot believe this is a set. It looks like a disgusting bathroom.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Did you guys have any more other Halloween related questions so we can?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, what was the man under the mask like? Like when between takes, did he hang out with the rest of the cast, or did he stay isolated to stay in that stalker mentality?
He didn't hang out with me all that often, but I feel like 99% of the actors and actresses that I've worked with in between, like when they say cut, it's like friendly. You know what I mean? He was a nice guy. He would have a conversation with you if you want to have a conversation with you. You have to be careful doing that kind of stuff though, because certain actors don't want to. They're there to, and they're in a mindset, and you don't want to pull them out of that with stupid, dumb conversation sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's a cool guy. I remember one time we were shooting in the house with that kid when she's babysitting that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he came back down the stairs. And at this point, like I was, like I said, I was still like, this is Michael Myers walking down the stairs in front of me. And I did a little nod, and like he was walking down the stairs and he went like this on the way down the stairs. And I was like,
That's awesome.
Michael Myers walking down the stairs doing this.
I like it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't have anything per se Halloween related, but I wanted to know, like, so when working on something like a television show, as far as I guess the chain of command, how much notice do you get when something is getting canceled that you're working on?
I've never worked on a television show. I've never worked on a television show that got canceled while we were shooting it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like we've always, every job I've ever been on, we finished the whole season or movie or whatever. The only, I guess, shows have been not renewed. I've never been on anything that's been like straight up canceled. I've just been on shows that were like, well, we're not bringing it back.
Okay.
You know?
I guess that would have been something I guess I could have thrown it as a slash, maybe not renewed. So I guess something like that. Then how much kind of notice do you get on something?
So
Like
I've worked on several shows that were like Vice Principals never got canceled because it was only planned to be 2 seasons.
Yeah,
like we did the 2 seasons. That was the story. That was it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Reckless, I think they wanted that to go. Like I'm not a representative of that show at all. I was just a camera guy on it. But
Right.
I'm assuming they wanted to do more than 1 season, but I guess they just didn't bring it back.
Okay.
Are you contractually like agreed, like season by season, or is it like no? So it's just
Freelance.
okay. That's
Oh, you mean season by season?
Yeah.
Like
So
so.
like, hey, we're
yes,
doing season 1. You're doing this for the entire season 1, and then if they bring it back for season 2, they could have the option to bring you back in.
Yeah. So basically, it's like he said, freelance. It's like they call me and they say, "Hey, do you want to do Gemstones or whatever?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I am working on season 1 of Gemstones. When season 2, whenever they decide to shoot that, I hope I get called. You know what I mean? It's not like a guarantee I'm going to be on the next season.
Okay.
Like a job on a basis.
Are you currently working on? You said you weren't doing anything, but you said that you had something earlier this week. Was that film related, or are you working on anything currently?
I am not currently working on anything full time, but I do this thing. So there's a thing called day playing, which is where if a show that's got a full crew needs additional camera people, like if they have a big stunt coming up or they have a second unit where they have so much work that they need to have 2 full units like shooting at the same time, they will call day players, or basically just they need me for 4 days. Are you available to work Monday through Thursday? And so that's what I did this week. It was a show that was doing some reshoots in Charleston, and they called me to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I just worked for 3 days here at home, which was nice.
Oh yeah, I bet. How often are you spending time in like hotels when you're up doing whatever in other places?
When I just did Halloween, we shot that in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was in a hotel. I was booked in a hotel for 57 nights.
Whoa!
Oh, wow.
Sounds like a lot of takeout.
It was not that awesome living in a hotel, but I had such a good experience up there that it was like I'd do it again, obviously 100 times over. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. I like that. So, what's your favorite movie of past release, and what's your favorite movie of current time? So, I don't know. New would be, I would guess, anytime from 2010 and beyond, and past would be anything prior to that.
Oh, what a hard question. Good stuff. I think this is always my go-to answer for like one of my favorite movies of all time is There Will Be Blood. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Yes.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
The oil mining one, right?
It's just beautiful. Performances are fantastic. And I think when I was in college, I saw that movie like 7 times in the theater. And then, I don't know, man. It's a hard question to answer. Current times? I have no idea.
Did you see anything this year? I'm going to go see that tonight.
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay, okay.
You watch The Shining first.
Okay.
You gotta watch The Shining first.
Okay. Well, I got a good refresher, but the person I'm going with does not. So.
Watch it. It's good because to me it stands on its own. Like even if it had nothing to do with The Shining, that movie is awesome.
Okay.
And then it's like, yeah, and it has a lot to do with The Shining, so that makes it more awesome, in my opinion.
Which I kind of feel like with in today's world, when you do a sequel from movies from that long, I feel like you have to make the movie, stand on its own, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go see it and be like, oh, I didn't know this was connected to The Shining, or what's The Shining, for some people. So
well, that's the thing. It's like they've been doing pretty well lately. Like Blade Runner 2049, that movie was awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a good sequel.
Yeah.
What else have you seen that has been released this year that you liked?
I don't know, man. I have to think about it. It's I'm drawing a blank. Let me look at mine.
Did
I
you
used
see
to have
Midsummer?
I wouldn't know to tell you then.
Did you see Midsummer?
Oh yeah.
What'd you think of that?
I didn't. Honest review. I didn't necessarily enjoy it because I am like, this is going to sound really dorky, but like I'm super not into like that kind of the shrooms and that kind of stuff because like, and like they force those people to do drugs so many times in that movie. And I'm just like, all right, this is real uncomfortable for me.
I respect that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I loved the one he did before that. Hereditary, dude. That movie is like unsettling.
Really
yeah. Loved that.
I'm trying to look at movies I've seen recently. If there's a way to look, I don't know. I can't think of what I've seen.
All right, no worries.
I'm sorry, man.
If you had a dream, any movie that ever that you had a dream to have worked on, what would it have been?
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. Okay, I like that. Big Star Wars fan?
Star Wars franchise, Say that
again?
And to be like part of like the first one, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. Did you see Mandalorian?
Oh yeah.
So
looks good, man. I really
Dude,
like it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
episode. Have you seen
I have not seen the second episode. I've seen the first one.
Gotta get on that today.
Dude, you gotta watch it. I hope it just gets better and better because episode 2, like I watched. So here's the thing: I've watched it twice. I've watched the first episode twice and the second episode twice.
Same here.
And it's better the second time you watch it because the first time it's a lot of introduction and stuff, and then once you know kind of who the characters are and how they work, then it's like more fun to watch it because now it's like, all right, I know who this guy is. Now I'm just gonna watch it and enjoy it for what it is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. You guys have.
What like any like tips maybe for anyone watching or anything like tips on I don't know kind of getting a foot in the door so to speak into what you're doing.
It's tough only because there's so many limited markets. Like if you're in Washington State, I wouldn't know what to tell you to do besides
Get out.
you know what I mean? I don't know. It's like I don't know anybody there that works in film.
Right.
I mean, there's a website that does a lot of reality TV hiring called Staff Me Up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've never used, but I know that people like reality TV shows will come to Charleston and they'll put like a job listing on Staff Me Up or whatever. And so if you're on there, you can apply. That I feel like is one of the only pieces of advice I give for a small market. I feel like for a larger market, or there's like a Northwest Film Forum in Washington where you can like put yourself on there if you have like a resume for things that you've done and be like, hey, I'm a PA,
Right.
you know. And one of my other biggest pieces of advice is if anyone ever offers you a job on a film set, whether it be like the lowest point on the totem pole, take it no matter what, because that's when you make your contacts.
Right.
And if you show up to work, if you show up to work and people trust you and they know that they get to know you and they trust you and they know you can work hard, then you can start saying like, hey man, I know I'm just like I'm a set PA. I don't really want to be an AD. I would love to work in camera, or I want to be a grip or an electrician or sound or whatever. Then once people know you, then you can start kind of throwing your interest out there and work your way up from there.
Okay. And I mean, you would got to think that experience is experience, and the more hands-on you get, the better you would get with that anyway too.
And a lot of it is honestly just getting to know the local people that work professionally and becoming friends with them and just working as hard as you can and just being as friendly as you can be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they're going to go, some other job's going to come to town and they're going to say, hey, do you know anybody that does this job? And they're going to think, oh yeah, this guy, super nice guy, gets the job done, like give him a call. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a lot of word of mouth.
Yep.
Once you get so.
Okay.
Good to
Do you
know.
guys have?
And also don't give up, because it could take you 2 weeks, it could take you 5 years, but if you really want it, then keep trying for it.
I believe in that too. I like that.
Yeah.
You guys have more?
Yeah. Besides Star Wars, are there any other long-running franchises that you would like to work on?
Long running.
Don't say Fast
Well,
and Furious.
What did you say?
Don't say Fast and Furious.
I think that would be fun though.
It
Well,
would be
it
fun
was
to
a-
be but
I would say Blade Runner, but I don't want them to make another sequel.
yeah.
I don't know.
Put 'em
Curb
on
Your
the spot. Where'd you come up with the idea for your podcast, The Second Sticks?
So I came up with the idea to do my podcast because I was, number one, I wasn't working at the time. I was in between jobs, and I was like, I can either sit around and watch TV all day, or I can try to do something creative in between my jobs, you know? And then number two was, I studied film in school and I learned a lot, but there's just something about learning on a set. There's just things you just won't learn unless you're learning them from professionals on a set. And so my idea was like, well, I want to make a podcast for people who are interested in what the jobs are on a film set and get a little bit more of an education, like just try to educate people a little bit more about what a grip does, what an electrician does, or this or that. And it was like me trying to supplement my own film school education, basically.
Yeah, I found it really intriguing that you got different perspectives of guys from, different points of a set, and just bringing on, hey, this guy does this, and you'd be talking about, just being on a set in general. Normal people don't get that, and I absolutely love that about your podcast.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and like I was telling you, I am still doing episodes. It's just that it's come to a thing now where I realize that while I'm working, I just don't make episodes,
right?
Because I'm too busy, and so I'm just saving up episodes now so that I can, get them all edited together, and then once I have, however many I want to release, then I'll be like, okay, here we're starting up again, and then I'll have them all ready to go. So once a week I can just drop one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have anything else,
Personally, yeah, we've touched most of my questions, if not myself, you guys have. So
Yeah.
I think we're good.
yeah, man. Thank you for your time.
Awesome.
So much.
Hey, Nick, I really appreciate it, and it would be cool to have you on and talk with us about just film in general, maybe next time.
Would love to. Whenever you guys want me, as long as I'm not busy, obviously, I would love to be here.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And anybody who is watching, go check out The Second Sticks. Awesome podcast by Nick. And go check out his work as well. I mean, Halloween, obviously, if you haven't seen that, I don't know. Go check out all of his other stuff.
No, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And thanks for taking your time out and talking with us.
Absolutely.
Right. Take care, man.
Have a good one. All
All right, that was cool.
Nice.
Hey,
All right.
I like that.